Hello, this is Malorian, and now this is actually going to be a 2,000 point game of some High Elves up against OnceBitten's Empire. Alright, well, one of the things we want to do while I was over there and with OnceBitten was have a game. Now, we looked at our actual tournament list and we figured that probably my Orcs and Goblins would smash the Empire. We thought, like, hey, we could always trade armies, but you know what, even, I don't know what I'd be doing with his Empire to try and beat my Orcs and Goblins. Yeah, it just would have been really tough. So what we decided to do is let's just try and do something different. And so what we did is just said, hey, he has some really old high elves. So why doesn't he make a high elf army for me to use? Seeing as, you know, at this point I'm looking to start high elves and I'm just looking to try and learn them, right? So I can learn what he would make as a high elf army, and I'll make an empire army for him. So here we have it. The game we're playing is just a regular battle line one, and actually, even though we have this massive table, we're all just kind of deployed on this one side here right now. But the list he made for me, if I can remember it right, from left to right he has an eagle, then there's a whole bunch of sea guard, and in there I have my BSB with Armor of Destiny or whatever. I have my level 4 that has Lore of Life, and he has a 4+ ward, a lion chariot, then a bunch of sword masters, and the sword master champ has the one talisman where he gets to re-roll everything, but then he takes a wound. Then we also have some white lions, and the champ there has a 2+ save, and then there's another eagle. Now on his side, what I made for him is he has 6 knights, he has some pistoliers, some more pistoliers, a steam tank, a bunker of archers, and in there he has a level 4 shadow with scroll, he has a cannon in the tower, he has 3 demigryphs, then he has kind of like small unit. It was a unit of 20 swordsmen, just in case we got watchtower. He actually decided to put his BSB in there, even though he doesn't have any gear. Then there's a big, huge unit there of the halberdiers, and they have 2 detachments, a free company, and then behind them there's a hurricanum. So looking at this, both of us almost got the same thing right away. Like, oh my god, what are the high elves going to have to do to win? And I think really what my plan is, and why I deployed over here, is I'm going to try actually playing a little bit Wood Elf style. So I'm going to try and shoot down and take down the pistoliers, get ahead in points. Then I'm going to start trying to move myself to the right. Whenever I get bad combats, I'll flee away. Hopefully I can dweller down those halberdiers, who also have a warrior priest, of course, by the way, with a 2+ save and great weapon. But I'll dwellers them. If I can't deal with them, I'll flee away. For the big combats I need, I can just go for flesh to stone and stuff and go through and hopefully end up ahead in the end. The big thing that's the Achilles heel to my plan, though, is that steam tank, because you can't flee from a steam tank. So we'll have to kind of see how it goes, but at this point, both of us have our money on the Empire. And here's just a close-up of his left side. Of course he doesn't have any pistoliers at all. It was really surprising because, I just really like the idea of pistoliers. So he's going to be proxying with a unit of outriders and this unit of mounted yeomen. And then he also doesn't have any free company, so that's what these long gunners are going to be. They're going to be free company, and also one of the things he found out is, he set up his demigryphs with halberdiers. He's actually going to be snapping those off and changing them to lances, but so they're supposed to be lances in this game here too. So I get first turn. I'm kind of slightly moving up my elements. I have the one eagle on the left that's there to block those pistoliers, because if I can block those pistoliers, they'll be blocking the knights behind them. The other one's up to kind of block the right unit of the free company, who will then hopefully block his large block as well. When I got to the shooting phase, I wasn't able to kill anything from his right pistolier, so that was kind of a flop. And then the magic phase, I went and I put the spell on the left eagle, so that, Shield of Thorns, if you charge him, he'll take damage and all that stuff. And on the right side there, I gave +2 toughness to my sword masters. Looking back on this already, this was just kind of dumb. I should have put the shield, if I could, onto the eagle, and then put the +2 toughness onto the left eagle. So that's what I should have done. Oh, by the way, my mage is now at the sword masters when I shifted over, so I'd be in range to do dwellers to his big unit of halberdiers, which didn't really go through anyway. But yeah, so kind of a botched magic phase, but it shouldn't be too bad. So on his turn, he charges into the eagle, and this is where I'm talking about, where now his own detachment will be holding back these halberdiers, and that's what I need because there's just way too many of them. However, then he gets enfeebling foe and reduces me by 3, so I don't think I'm going to be doing so well in this combat, whereas I thought I'd be holding him up or winning or something like that. So overall, it looks like this. He had another debuff on my other eagle. I can't remember what it is right now, but nicely he was able to survive all the shots on him, so that's pretty cool. My other eagle was defeated and sent packing. The rest of the army is kind of moving up just slightly. I mean, he's not needing to really put up the pressure. His cannon did destroy my lion chariot, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, here we go. My turn 2, and this is where I thought I could really start doing a little bit of damage, and it kind of ended up with me doing absolutely nothing. My eagle didn't rally, and what I tried doing on the left side is I thought, okay, I need to get my eagle behind his lines, and I want to get rid of one of his units of pistoliers. Because of my piss poor rolling last time, I thought, well, why do I do this? I'm going to charge his red pistoliers, they're going to flee, then when he pops on the other side, I'll charge him with the eagle, catch him with the eagle, and I kind of accomplished both goals. Well, unfortunately what happened is that he decided to hold with the pistoliers. I failed the charge, and then the eagle just had to kind of pass a march test, and then just basically went behind his army just to kind of take away his attention. Otherwise, what I'm doing is I'm just moving up with my white lions, using his now other detachment to kind of block his halberdiers. So if he wants to charge in with his demigriffs, I can fight them and take them down. And otherwise, my sword masters are also being a spot there where they can counter if needed. And here's just a picture of this cowardly eagle. I had such high hopes for my eagles and what I need them to do, but you don't always pass their leadership 8s, right? So his turn 2, he takes his demigriffs into my sword masters. Knowing him, he tripped twice on the fence there and already took 2 wounds. So with that extra damage, I'm feeling very confident in this combat here. One thing that's kind of unfortunate though is that when I moved over my mage, because the base wasn't the right size for the models being 7 wide, I have 3 of the sword masters on the flank, right? So I basically put in the mage, I put him on the corner, which is like the smart thing to do. Then I remember I had to add the 3 sword masters and thought, that'll be good enough. But now he's going to be able to attack my mage with 2 demigriffs, so that could be a dead mage for me. And yeah, and that also doesn't help that he got off enfeebling foe again and reduced my strength by 3 again. So all of a sudden this combat isn't looking too hopeful. So end of the turn, it looks like this. He has his steam tank moving his way towards my white lions, which is not good because, at this point, there's no way around it. I have to fight that steam tank. In a demigriff fight, I wasn't able to do a wound to him. He killed a bunch of my guys. I'm steadfast. And now he's starting to plink away a few things at my sea guard there. And maybe one hope I have here is I could charge the pistoliers and then overrun into the flank of the demigriffs to really punch through them. But yeah, I'm gonna yeah, things are looking pretty dire for me. And also his archers have turned around and killed that last eagle on the left there. So my turn 3, I kind of turn the tides here because I dispel his spells and remains in place, so I got rid of it, and then I got Flesh to Stone on my sword masters. So this should now finish, seal the deal really. But of course it doesn't. And really what happens here is that I go after the 1 unit of pistoliers, and the way I looked at it, I didn't think it would work. If I charged, he would just flee, so I decided to shoot instead. Took all the pistoliers off, so there's 1 unit down. Finally, when I thought these guys would be all dead by now, I still have another one on my flank. In the combat there, yeah, I only killed 1 demigriff. I thought I'd be destroying them, but just the way the rolls went, just didn't happen. One thing to note, you'll note that he was going for assassination on my mage there. He actually forgot to attack him that first turn, and then after this he's been now throwing a few attacks at me, but I'm rolling my 4+ ward like a boss, so that's helping. Otherwise, I went into the steam tank, decided to fail my fear test, my terror test, and so I didn't do too hot, and I did a couple of wounds to it, but I needed to do a lot more. Alright, so then on his turn, he comes into my flank with all these halberdiers. Now, I'm not overly worried about this because I'm stubborn, so I can hold up, chew up the tank, and hopefully come in with the sword masters, but I need my sword masters to get out of combat. So if anything, this is kind of good because his hatred will be used up against a unit with stubborn, and then my swordmaster can come in. But even then, these guys are just so big that with my little squishy elves, it's going to be pretty tough. So, end of his turn looks like this. He got off the enfeebling foe again on my swordmasters, again reduced it by 3. Luckily, he failed one of his armor saves, so I was able to get through there on a 1. But yeah, you can see my white lions took a pounding. Yeah, and then the big thing there is, of course, that my swordmasters are being chewed up too, and at this point, they're too small to really have any chance against those halberdiers either, so it's looking really bad. He did kind of, what I thought, make a mistake here and show the flank of his knights to my sea guard, so I mean, again, if I can get in there, I can try and kill some stuff, but again, yes, it's looking pretty bad for me. My turn 4, and there's a lot of spells I was going to cast. Really, I can't just be 6 dicing spells at this point. I need to kind of do the small dice in order to get all my spells off in order to have any chance here. But the first thing I need to do was stop enfeebling foe. Rolled a 4 rather than the 5 I needed at least to take off enfeebling foe, and that pretty much ended my magic phase. So that really, really didn't help. So in my turn it looks like this. I had charged the knights like I said, but they fled. Then my swordmasters finally beat the demigriffs, and then I caught them actually when they fled, so that's good. I finally got some points. Otherwise, you can see my white lions, there's only 2 of them left, and that's pretty much it. So then on his side, he does his grinding, and that just kills all the white lions right there, just with the grind attacks from the stank. And so at the end of the turn, it looks kind of like this. So I mean, his knights reformed, his guys are, picking away at my sea guard, and my swordmasters are sitting in the middle of this mess with -3 strength. The only good news I have is my eagle finally decided to rally, so he's going to be a big part of this game. Yeah. My turn 5, and it was basically just a whole bunch of fail. What was the plan was that the swordmasters were going to charge his bunker of swordmen at the back to hopefully, get through there and start killing some of his more critical stuff. I failed the charge, and then the BSB was supposed to be charging the steam tank just to hold it up so that it didn't slam into my swordmasters, because obviously my swordmasters with level 4 is more important than my BSB. I failed the charge, and so otherwise, all I do is I go in swift reform with my sea guard and shoot at some pistoliers, and didn't kill anything anyway. His turn 5, and his steam tank wants to slam into me, but this little detachment's actually stopping it from rotating. It's one of those things where it's like, usually the detachment is there as a stupid little throwaway unit, but in this one here, it kind of just saved my swordmasters, so that's nice. So otherwise, he's just kind of moving around with his halberdiers, shoots more into my swordmasters, takes down a few more, and what I'm seeing here is I'm in a lot of trouble, but what I can try and do is charge around the steam tank, clip the Hurricanum, and if I beat it, overrun into the swordmen. It's not a good plan, but it's probably the best I got, especially since he has Occams up on his swordmen now, so I don't exactly just want to go charging into them first. So my turn 6, that's what I do, but when I get in there, he holds, so I didn't even overrun or anything fun. I was able to kill the other unit of the pistoliers are shooting, so there's a tiny bit more points, but I think we all know what's going to happen now. And so on his turn 6, he has the steam tank coming to the rear of my unit, and the swordmen into the front. And at the end of the day, yeah, I break and I'm run down, and even though the steam tank can't chase me, I thought it was more of a dramatic picture just to show his steam tank grinding down my swordmaster champ in level 4. So, yeah, there's the game. So, victory to OnceBitten and the Empire. One of the things looking into this is that we were saying, well, maybe, like OnceBitten won the game, but I won, like, the list building phase. I don't know. He was saying after, like, oh, okay, if you were to go back and rebuild the High Elves, what would you do to take on this army type thing? And one of the biggest things I'm not really having an answer to is the steam tank for my High Elves. I mean, sure, I can throw white lions at them, hopefully get into the flank of the steam tank if I can arrange it, and then kind of really grind it down after a couple of turns. Of course, there's always like Pit of Shades and stuff like that too, but really, if it's not one of those things, nothing really stands up to the steam tank, and so that's really the problem when I'm looking at it. So I'm going to have to go back, and especially once the book finally comes out, really look at it. But one of the neat things too that OnceBitten brought up when I was when we were talking about high elves and blah blah blah, is he was saying like, why are you trying to really practice them right now? I mean, obviously they're going to change dramatically. So even though like a lot of times like sure, yeah, you get into an army and you try and learn them as they change, blah blah. But it looks like they're really going to fundamentally change the way high elves play. So why learn the way they play now when it's going to be completely different? So that's a really good point, and so I might relax off the high elves apart from the slow grow anyway that I'm going to be doing. But it's not like I'm going to have that big of a wait. They're going to be coming out right away anyway. But either way, it was a great game. OnceBitten, of course, again was such a great guy to let me stay at his place and everything, and it was so cool that we got to get this game in, and there you have it. So thanks for watching, and that's now finally all my battle reports for the trip. So hope to like them all, and actually I'm going to be doing a live little sit-down summary of how my final thoughts of how the tournament went, my army, breaking it down by the unit even, and that's going to be now tonight, which will be April 18th at probably 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So hope to see some of you guys there. Bye.